Hello, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today, I titled this message, Pushy Christians, Pushy Christians. And for those of you all who have encountered a pushy Christian, you may have been very turned off by this individual. Now, pushy, I'm going to give you two meanings in this message. The first is the annoying type, right? The one who is pushing you to do something that you really don't want to do, or you haven't made up your mind, or you don't have enough time, or you've got other obligations, or what have you. Okay. And then, of course, there is pushy in the sense that one is pushing you in a direction where God wants you to be. So they're more like a motivator, an inspirational type of individual. Okay. The pushy on the negative side, that pushy one is the one that usually loses people rather than gains people around him or her. That means that you could have had some really good friends, but nope, it couldn't work out that way because someone saw the pushiness that rose up in your spirit. Okay. Someone said, let me back off because I cannot deal with a controlling person. I cannot deal with someone dictating my life. I can't deal with anyone doing too much of anything. Okay. But allowing me to be me. And when I'm ready to do something, I'm ready to do something. Okay. But when you are pushing someone to the point where you break them, you don't have the problem with that person so much as you have it with God. Because if God was calling that person to himself and he used you to help out, so to speak, okay, and you decided to push that person in a totally different direction, don't be concerned so much about that person, but be concerned that that other spirit, if you will, that is in or around you is at work. And that is a self-righteous spirit. Sometimes it's a judgmental spirit. Sometimes it is one that just complains a lot about those apathetic folks, and God, he delivers some folks from that sort of thing. So if you catch yourself acting like that, that's when you want to go to the Lord and say, Lord, I messed up. I pushed somebody, I think, a bit too much, to the point where now they are not interested in you, in me, in nothing more than going right back into their sinful lifestyle. Please forgive me, Lord. Some of you all, you can pause this message and take that moment right now and do just that. Now, for some of you all, you aren't pushing anyone. If anything, you're the type that, people can be people and do what they want to do because I'm not getting mixed up with folks like that. I got enough problems of my own. Okay. And no one is getting all up in your face about that sort of thing, right? Because they know it is what it is. You're not going to push anyone to do anything. But there comes a point where the Lord will move upon your spirit to push someone in such a way where it is out of love or it is out of frustration or upset or what have you. We see this sort of thing take place between parents and their children. We see this take place when someone is trying to save a marriage. We see this when there are relatives who are just making the wrong decisions and we want to win them. We see this with friends, right? Where two people just want to do what's right. And then there are those who unfortunately don't, but the ones who want to do what's right want to bring the others on board. So there is healthy pushing that takes place, but you got to know when to let go, because I'm willing, let's just play devil's advocate here. I'm willing to listen to you to a certain degree, okay? And you tell me this is what you need to do and this is where you need to go. And I'm like, okay, cool. Because if I want certain things to get done, I need to make some effort, right? Okay, but then when you tell me, here's what the fine print is, though. If I do this for you, I expect you to do A, B, and C for me. Oh, really? I didn't know that. I would have never called on you. I would have never asked you if, you could help me. I would have never shown up at your church. I would have never even talked to you. I didn't know you were that kind of person. And some folks, even though they don't come off that way, they are that way. And so this is why sometimes there are some bumps in the road and some things don't get done with some people, because the Lord is showing them, listen, you need to stop making connections with folks with fine print attached. You need to stop being concerned about people in that sort of way, where it's always about, what can I get? What can I get? You're being so pushy, right? Some folks who are in sales, they know what I'm talking about. You can be so pushy to the point where people get frustrated and throw their hands up, or they might even complain to the manager. How many times does this person got to keep coming around asking me if I want this or want that? Okay. I'm feeling like this person is, I don't know, stalking me in the store. Okay. And those who have had run-ins with, unfortunately, racist types of individuals, they don't like, and I will tell you from personal experience, they don't like people keep coming up to them, asking them, can I help you? Okay, didn't you just ask me in aisle 2? Okay, I'm down here in aisle 9. I didn't want your help in aisle 2. I don't want your help in aisle 9. Stop asking me. Okay. Pushy Christians, pushy people in general, they are among us. They are not being moved by God, but they're actually being moved by the flesh. Okay. It is my selfish interest, my selfish desire, my selfish gain that's motivating me. It is my need to want to feel self-important. It's whatever that's going on within self that is causing the person to be so pushy, you see. And when that person is pushing people to the point where people are breaking down, some folks will even emotionally lose it. I heard a man screaming and yelling at his girlfriend because she kept telling him about something that he was doing. And that particular day, he was defending himself and he was saying, no, I wasn't. I didn't. You know what? Get off my back. And he started cursing. And I thought that it was going to be a domestic situation because that's how much she was pushing him. And so he did the right thing. He ended up walking out the front door and taking a long, and I do mean long, cigarette break from her. Okay. I know that some folks are very passionate about what they do. And they're very passionate about putting the troops in line. Okay. They're very determined to win over someone. And that's all good, but you can actually do more harm than good when you are disrespecting a person's boundaries. When a person has repeatedly told you, I don't want you to keep talking to me about this. I don't want you to keep coming around me, asking me if I'm going to join this group, if I'm going to be a part of this. I've already told you I'm dealing with some things, and the least that you can do is to let up off of me. I don't need an MLM right now. I need a real job, or I don't need a buddy who's looking for some type of money out of me. I'm looking for a real buddy who's not looking for too much of anything from me. Okay. But companionship, and that's it. I'm not looking for a sexual partner, someone says, but I'm looking for, just someone who's going to, assist me with my project or my business. You see, but you got some folks who like to push themselves and push their hidden agendas or, just overt agendas upon you. And so that is when you've got to say, no, I'm sorry, but I'm not interested. And I've prayed about this, or I've really thought about it, and no, this isn't what I want. Okay. The only reason why I'm a part of this group is because A, B, and C, but no, I don't need 5 other groups, you see. And then this is where, unfortunately, the pushy Christian becomes the judgmental Christian. Okay. The one who is critical, who is difficult, who is assuming things that are untrue about you. Oh, so you don't want to be a part of this, but I thought that you were very, just passionate about this project, this cause, and yet you don't want to do this? I mean, I don't understand. I mean, do you really consider yourself to be a believer? Okay, wait a minute, hold up. Now you're questioning my faith because I don't want to be a part of this group and that one. Oh, okay. Well, I know what to do with people like you, right? You're thinking to yourself, I'm not going to call or come around this person anymore because I'm not going to go through this. Or the judgmental Christian assumes the worst about you and will go off and tell other people. Oh, let me tell you about her. Do you know, I repeatedly asked her if she wanted to be a part of this, and you know, she denied. Well, if that person is discerning, they'll say, well, she may have a lot going on. I mean, you shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't assume, well, you know how those people are. Excuse me, what do you mean those people? Now that person, if they didn't know that the one that came to them with the information had something going on with them about a certain ethnicity or what have you, they know now. And that person just might lose a friend for carrying that type of attitude as well as information, you know. So, oh, she's not a good friend. She's actually a gossip. This one, she's not so great. She actually has a lot going on with her, and she likes to project her issues onto other people. Okay. And then people start assuming things that are incorrect about others. So just because someone denies or rejects or can't be a part of does not mean that, oh, the devil must be with that person. And there are those Christians who assume this sort of thing. Sometimes God doesn't release us because he already has work for us. And he also knows that if we get around the wrong connections, we may not do his work any longer. I can tell you that there are those that question a lot of what I do, but I'm not that one that just draws Christians. I draw some folks that are, dare we say it, heathens, right? People who are just out there who do a lot of things. And why? Why would God do that? Because that's what he did with Jesus. If you remember, Jesus, he actually was treated harshly and rejected by those in the synagogue. But yet those that were out there, okay, and could recognize the Son of God, they were not Pharisee type of folks, okay? And the other thing about Jesus is that when he did speak, he spoke to folks in such a way where, yes, at times it may have been considered a bit brash, but at the same time, though, he was a help to them, you see. He wasn't hurting the people. He was helping them. He was healing them. He was teaching them. And sometimes we come across pushy Christians that they don't have that gifting yet. They're not there yet, but they're forcing themselves to do some things that their personality is not equipped to handle right now. So rather than join more activities, some Christians need to stand down and spend some more time with the Lord instead of filling their schedules up with so many different things. And other Christians, when God is moving them to do some things, then you do them. But when God isn't moving you to do certain things, then you stay where you are until God calls you. I'm telling you, there's so many different types of Christians. And when you recognize that there are those types of Christians that are not going to help you, but they're going to be a hindrance and they're just using you just for the numbers, or they're using you because, well, somebody has portioned them, or they're using you because they feel like they can get something from you. But it's in a deceptive, nasty, downright dirty kind of way. You're to distance yourself from people like that. I remember there were those who were believers. They weren't necessarily the church going type of Christians, but they were believers. And what they would do is invite me to different events. And these events were nice. But it wasn't about friendship. It was about money. Okay. And it was about business. And I was okay with that because, hey, we all have a common purpose for connecting with one another for any number of reasons. But things started getting ugly when the one woman started pushing her business on me. Okay. And that's when I started distancing myself. It was one of those programs where you were to sell some lingerie. And I wasn't doing as well as her because, number one, I did not own a vehicle. And at that particular time, I did not have my driver's license. A lot of the contacts that I made were by foot. I did have occasional trips where I would go back to see my family. And this one particular time, I mentioned to her that that's where I was headed. And she said, oh, well, you could host a party, or get connected with someone down there. And then if they open up their doors to you, then that person's going to get so much lingerie and so forth. And so I did. And the party was a success, and I came back and I told her about everything, and she was excited. So then she said, okay, you ready to do another party? And I'm like, no, because I'm not in a position. And it was like she kept ignoring the fact that I am not, in that position where I had the long list and the long contacts. I was a stay-at-home mom. Once again, didn't have the transportation, and it just seemed like that was going over her head. So needless to say, God set it up where we grew apart, and a business that was more suitable for me at the time was eBay. And that's where my focus was. So sometimes it's not even about pushy Christians, but once again, it's just pushy people in general who like to just come at you. Are you going to join? Are you going to join? Because that's part of their programming. It's part of what they've learned in all of those little meetings that they attended, is that, look, this is what you get if you get 2 people, 5 people, 10 people, 12 people involved, Oh, and by the way, and when a person is just saying a little too much about whatever they're a part of, people shy away from that. And rather than gain friends, they lose them. Years back, I did do a audio/video of an MLM. And I talked in general about MLM. And so for those of you all who are not familiar with it, please do look under the search engine on YouTube, NM Enterprise 7, not the general search engine of YouTube, but the one that is on my page, and type in multi-level marketing. Okay. Some of you all, you need to hear that, because I know during the day, some are involved with various programs and not regular jobs. And some of these programs will bankrupt you. Some of these programs will cause you to lose many, many friends. Family members will shy away from you. Some of these programs are designed to push you to the point where you have headaches, stomach aches, back aches, you name it. Some have you out on the road going to all these different functions and so forth. And then when you calculate how many contacts you made or how much money you made, is not very good. When you calculate how much money you put towards all sorts of memberships, is not good. I was on fire for this sort of thing back in my 20s. Okay. Nobody could tell me anything because I was a part of everything that came in my face. Okay. If somebody said, join this, I was like, okay. Come to this meeting, I was like, okay. Do this, do that. And I'm telling you that over time, though, your focus is so money centered that there is no God really in the plan. You are quick about your little prayers in the morning time. You're quick about the little conversations that you have with people, because time is money. And okay, if I'm on the phone with you for 20 minutes, I need to be making some money, you see. And so it gets to a point where you see dollars and cents and you don't see people. And then God gradually starts allowing certain things to happen where what goes up comes down. Okay. So as you walk with the Lord, you will see more and more things that will challenge your faith, that will cause you to rethink how you view people, how you deal with people. You will find that pushy folks come in all shapes, sizes, colors. They're a part of all sorts of programs. And it's not always about Christian, but it's about anything that someone is passionate about. And we respect their passion, but we don't have to go along with all of what they say. Sometimes people can't say no because they got a long history with people. I know that there were family members that would come to me and tell me about different programs, and I say yes, and I would sign up. I wouldn't even think twice. I would sign up. And then one time I signed up and I didn't realize that I was getting automatic deductions taken out of my bank account. Okay. I thought it was a one-time fee, and I really needed my money, and I almost had a falling out with a relative behind that, but luckily I had a bit of self-control. Another time I joined a program and I was getting phone calls regularly about my progress, and I started becoming angrier and angrier with the individual. Another time, someone brought me in, and I really liked the female. I thought that she would be a good friend. It turned out that when she, I guess, was getting busy, she dropped me like a hot pancake and put me under her mother. Her mother was making sure that she was in contact with me. But then I got to a place where I was like, wait a minute, what is going on here? Because I gave you all some money. You guys told me that I was going to be able to make so much money with it. And then I found out that I had to recruit people in order to make money, and that it wasn't so much about selling product, even though that's what I was portioned for, was selling product. So needless to say, I didn't keep in contact with her. So then they put somebody else on my back to find out what was going on. And that individual, I didn't like her attitude because she was very pushy, and I could see why. After we talked for a while, I said, what is going on? I just came out of the professionalism and became more like the advisor, counselor. What is going on? Why is there such a push? I'm hearing some distress. Well, I really want you to see how great this program is. And besides, we have numbers. And then that's when I asked her, well, how did you become a part of this program? And she told me. And basically the woman who brought her in pretty much used the same little slick, charming way of inviting her to a dinner. And, this dinner had lobster and, all sorts of seafood. And there was various drinks she could choose from and all of that. And before long, the woman had talked her out of using her rent money. And so the push was for her to make sure that she made her rent payment. So if you're under that kind of pressure, you're going to come off with a little bit of an attitude. And that's why she was acting that way, because I was asking a little bit too many questions and I needed to just go along with it. And it really proves to be promising. But no, anything where it's going to put me in a position where I might use my rent money, no way. So I said, well, thank you very much for the information. I will get back to you. And basically that was my nice little way of saying, don't you call me. So I'm telling you that pushiness is not going to get some folks anywhere when it comes to walking with the Lord. Now, you might get those numbers up, and sure, you might get the little recognition and a pat on the back. And I can see this with some folks, and they've done quite well over the years. But the deception and the lies and the exaggerations and the gossip and the arguing that goes on, and the I'm not speaking to you, and not holding yourself accountable for your actions or inactions when it comes to pushiness, you will reap what you sow sooner or later. That is why when you feel that just calling to let go of something or to distance yourself or not be so pushy, obey that. Obey that. I can't stress that enough. When I stopped being so pushy back when I was a part of Avon some years ago, it was funny how folks would just call me, and I didn't have to go around, talking about, did you get the catalog? Do you need anything and all that? If they need something, they'll call. and a reminder, right? Once a month is good enough. maybe even a couple times a month. But I mean, one while there, it was every other day. Sometimes it was twice a week. Then I started coming up with creative ways just to have a conversation with a person and then squeeze an Avon. So sales, yes, it's a dog eats dog kind of field, especially if everybody's competing for the top reward. Well, that is it. I know that this message went from Pushy Christians to sales folks, but hey, it all falls in line with what God wants us to hear today, okay? Is that we cannot be pushy with his word, pushy with the affiliations, pushy with too much of anything, because people eventually will be turned off, okay? So if you have that opportunity to talk with someone, be more of a listener. And when the person tells you that they're busy or they're going through much or what have you, be sensitive to that, and don't go talking about, well, you need to be a part of this and that. Because a lot of the times when people are under a lot of stress, they're already a part of enough. Okay? And the last thing they need is one more thing on their plate. So that is it. Thank you as always for taking the time out of your schedule to listen. You've been listening to YouTube NM Enterprise 7. Feel free to subscribe also. If you haven't given, we do welcome donations. Blessings to you.